As BioCrossroads approaches our 20th anniversary next year, we find ourselves reflecting on how far we've come. As an illustration, I want to share the progression of one section of our entrepreneurial ecosystem. It's also fitting because of our next speaker. When we look back over the last 2 decades, tremendous innovation has come from our research institutions, in particular, Indiana University and Purdue University. Innovation has also come from companies like Eli Lilly, through the spin-outs of a number of their molecules. There has also been a focus on capital, with 2 fund-of-funds and 3 seed funds to date, organized by BioCrossroads. And actually, we are releasing our latest report early next week, and it's a look back at our 15 years of funding efforts related to the life sciences sector. There are some impressive stats. BioCrossroads Indiana Seed Funds 1, 2, and 3 total $24 million and have invested in 32 Indiana companies. These companies have gone on to raise another $796.5 million, to be exact. The state of Indiana has also developed a number of statewide programs providing funding and expertise, most recently through Elevate Ventures and the Next Level Fund. Innovation comes from curiosity, and we have great talent, curious talent, even serial entrepreneurs like Phil Lau from Purdue and Richard DiMarchi, who is here with us today. Great science attracts great managers, which are needed to grow these startups by raising money and executing clinical development plans to get these innovations to the bedside. Global companies are taking note by acquiring or partnering with these startups. This is just a snippet of one section of our entrepreneurial community. There is exciting discovery and development happening all over our state. Before we bring Richard DiMarchi back, I'd like to pause and remember one of Indiana's true scientific entrepreneurs, Jaz Gitta. Jaz passed away in early September after contributing to several industry and entrepreneurial ventures, including Marcadia, Calibrium, Antigen, and Gate Neurosciences. He was a first mover in our entrepreneurial ecosystem and was someone whom we should try to emulate. He was always willing to work with young scientists and often led from behind the scenes, problem solving and doing whatever it took to move startups forward. He will be greatly missed. And now I'd like to invite back Dr. Richard DiMarchi. He's going to discuss why it's important to nurture our scientists and encourage them to bring their innovations to market. He'll also cover how to keep this burgeoning entrepreneurial system moving forward. Richard, all yours.
So Patty, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak at this symposium. I'm humbled to be following on your comments about Jaz. Jaz was a very close personal friend and a gentle giant, someone who was always there, as you say, to lead from behind, making sure that others receive the credit, often for contributions that he himself had made. He is so much missed, and I think we're all grieving from his passing earlier this month. I will try to be quick in sharing with you just a few points about our local economy and how I have viewed it from a participant in, gosh, the full 40 years since I returned from the Rockefeller University. This truly is a phenomenal time. And I'm often asked in Bloomington career direction from students and many others, faculty and the like. And I share with them the common wisdom that just says, be yourself. Everybody else is taken. And I think that wisdom pertains to geographies and institutions as well, to recognize what our strength truly is and to play to those strengths. I'd like to offer 2 particular elements that are important here. But before doing so, let's recognize this phenomenal period that we reside in. It's been 40 years, slightly more than 40 years, since the beginning of what we call biotechnology. And quite frankly, it's fulfilling the vision that we had seen of it in those early days, despite the skepticism as to whether it would prove to be as powerful as it has proven to be. Just think about the phenomenal drugs that are coming to us at unprecedented speed, be it HIV, HBV, hepatitis C, the anti-inflammatory drugs, the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis, the treatment of psoriasis, and of course the vaccinations, the mRNA-based vaccinations for COVID being most prominent. But even beyond that, think about the emergent ability to treat the other epidemic that's become silent in the face of COVID, and that's excess body weight, obesity, our ability to manage body weight the way we have traditionally managed hypertension, elevated lipids, elevated glucose, and the like. I mean, the speed at which this is coming is truly spectacular, and I suspect if Al Jolson were here, he would tell you, you ain't seen nothing yet, because that is where we're headed with this technology, is redefining biology in a more quantitative sense. But closer to home, the 2 points that I want to make about Central Indiana really pertain to the birth of biotechnology and analytical chemistry, building upon Pete Kissinger's recognition. To me, 40 years ago, we opened a building on the Lilly campus, Building 130, that did the product development and the manufacturing of human insulin. And while San Francisco may lay claim to the birthing of biotechnology, biotechnology became medicine here in Indiana. On McCarty Street, on Kentucky Avenue, is where this phenomenal technology produced the materials that got to patients. And that translation is what propelled this industry to be what it is today. And I believe that those that were a part of that often do not receive the recognition in what was brought in taking this substance from milligrams to grams to kilograms to thousands of kilograms, tonnage of material of the highest quality, at a cost that no one complained about when it was launched. This was a phenomenal achievement that rivals the discovery of the hormone 100 years ago, because what was most important wasn't the scientific discovery, but its translation to allow patients to have access to this life-saving substance. And so the individuals who were there, Leroy Baker, Walt Prouty, Terry Fenimore, Roger Brunkow, Harlan Long, these individuals who you rarely hear the name of deserve the recognition and the credit, so that as I come through Indianapolis, we see the visibility and the signs that, in fact, biotechnology became medicine right here in our midst, just as San Francisco prides itself on the birthing of the technology as you travel through South San Francisco. I feel very passionate about that, because these folks are scientific heroes for me in terms of what was achieved at that point in time. As for the second part of it, the analytical part of it, we often beat ourselves up unnecessarily as why don't we have more of the George Churches of the world, the Bob Langers of the world, the Francis Arnolds of the world, the Carolyn Batozis of the world, these folks that are continually starting companies. We need not do that. That is not our strength, as I said earlier. Our strength really speaks to the left brain side of our capabilities, the logical, mathematic, systematic way in which we go about doing our business that had allowed us to do things of the sort I just mentioned in terms of the production of human insulin at such an early time, at such speed, at such size, at such cost. You know, we just need to recognize when we speak about why can't we think outside the box, that quite frankly, these individuals that I was referencing don't just think outside the box, they live outside the box. That's why it becomes so easy for them to do that. You know, we have a collection of those individuals here in the state, and we should work to increase the number of those individuals, but that's a discussion for another day. You know, since I arrived in Indiana as a graduate student in 1974, something that's poorly appreciated is that analytical chemistry has been a strength of this community. Purdue has traditionally ranked first or second in the nation in analytical chemistry, with IU within the top 5, very closely behind Purdue. If you went looking for MIT, Caltech, UC Berkeley, Harvard, and the like, you wouldn't find them in the top 10 of this particular profession. The exact opposite is what you would find if you were looking at the biological sciences, right? Biochemistry, chemical biology, and the like. It is a different skill set. And the good news economically is that if you look at where most of the jobs are, they're on the D side of R&D. 3/4 of the investment goes into development scientists, not into discovery science, right? And that is in addition to what goes into manufacturing and the scientists that are employed to do the quality control of making drug substances and releasing it in a regulatory world. This is where I believe our analytical strengths pay dividends. When you think about the folks that we tend to pride ourselves on, the John Woodens of the world, the Neil Armstrongs of this world, the Ron Chances of this world, Pete Kissingers, Gus Watanabe, very logical, analytical people, the sorts of folks that excel in an industry that is as highly regulated as the one that we are a part of. And so with that being the strength, let's welcome all of these right-brained individuals who are doing this discovery to come to Indiana and allow us to use our expertise, our experience to build these medicines that we could collaboratively rejoice on. And if we're going to do that, think back to where the core strength is. Who is training these students, and the importance of Indiana University, the importance of the medical center here in Indianapolis, obviously Purdue, Notre Dame, and allowing us to continue to excel in the domain where we need to train students and where we need to recruit foreign students. And so again, as someone who has come to Indiana from outside the state, Pete Kissinger as well, certainly Jazz Gitta as well, we need to be competitive in bringing these individuals in, and the universities remain a magnet, so let's not forget them as we continue to build our economic center for prosperity. Thank you so much for the opportunity to offer these comments.
Dr. DiMarchi, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate your perspective.